Welcome to Of Men, For Men. Here we'll discuss issues pertaining to the modern day man. Subjects like health, wealth, lifestyle, gear, and relationships. So join me as we dive into the world of men, for men. Hello, and welcome to the Of Men, For Men podcast. I am your host, James Rodney Lee Maggs. Yeah! Come on! Get you some. All right, come on in, kick back, relax, grab yourself a cool one. All right, well, weekend is fast approaching. I hope you got some plans to do something with your friends, your family, your loved ones. Or perhaps even take a little time for yourself. Kick back, self-reflect. Do something that interests you. Taking care of yourself is not being selfish, okay? A lot of people tell you, you're just being selfish. No. You need to take care of yourself. It's like you own the plane and you turbulence or smoke or it's fixing to go down and the oxygen mask come down from overhead, and what do they tell you? Put yours on first. Right, exactly. Put your oxygen mask on first so you don't pass out, and then you can help the other people put theirs on if they struggling or they having some kind of issue. You have to take care of yourself first. It's not being selfish. It's not that. But society would have you think that somehow self-preservation is selfish. Somehow taking care of yourself is somehow selfish. And I don't understand that whatsoever. I'm not saying be selfish. I mean, that's a whole different story. But taking some time out, doing some things for yourself, staying happy and healthy and all of that is good for you, and it's good for everybody around you. Because if you're not doing that, how in the world are you going to be able to do anything for anybody else? I don't understand why people can't wrap their head around that. But anyway, what I wanted to talk today, this evening, tonight, wherever you may be, whenever you may be listening to this, is a term that I've heard over and over again, and it doesn't make any sense. It's counterproductive. I don't see how anybody can use it and even think that it makes any kind of sense. And I'm sure you've heard it too. And they use it as a weapon against you to beat you up with it. And the term is it's what they call an oxymoron, like military intelligence. Those two terms should not ever be used in conjunction with one another. Because, the military is not always intelligent. Or what's another one? A microaggression. How in the hell can you be microaggressive? You're either aggressive or you're not. It's just microaggression. Again, two terms two words that should never be put together in a sentence: microaggression. I think the first time I heard that was at what's her name, Michael Obama. I'm sorry, Michelle Obama. Microaggression, bullshit. No such thing. You're either aggressive or you're not. Ain't no microaggression. 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 I swear. But what we gonna talk about ain't got nothing to do with any of that. It's a term that is used against men. It's called toxic masculinity, and I'm sure you've heard about it. You know. Now, I don't know the origins of the term, where it came from, how it came about. You would think that some of these feminists had something to do with that. You know, the feminist movement, you know, some feminist spokesperson or leader would have come up with that term. I don't believe that's accurate. I believe it actually came from the manosphere. You know, talking about how, you know, being masculine was not healthy or good for men. It was toxic for men. And then I believe that the feminists latched onto it. Now you can do your own research on that. Like I said, I'm not clear, but I believe that's how it came about. But irregardless, it is used as a blunt force object against men, and has been for quite some time, and probably will be in perpetuity until, you know, the pendulum swings in the other way. Because I tell you, friends, once the enemy is at the gate, they're not going to be worried about toxic masculinity anymore. They're going to be looking for the most alpha male they can find to protect them. You know, it ain't going to be, what's his name with a man bun and a bunch of tattoos, but don't know how to use a firearm or can't change a tire, don't know how to fix nothing. He's not very masculine. You know, drinking PBRs because they think it's cool. You know, it's trendy. Or they wear certain clothes. What do you call it? Those skin tight, those skinny jeans. Yeah, they ain't gonna be looking for those guys because they're not gonna be able to help them. They ain't gonna be no help whatsoever. They be worse than the women. You know, they gonna be looking for the masculine male when the enemy is at the gate. When the shit hits the fan. When the zombies are coming, when the apocalypse happens. They could be looking for some men, some real men. So this whole thing about toxic masculinity, again, I'm calling bullshit. You can't be a toxic male. You're either toxic or you're a male. You're masculine. But I think what they're shooting at is that, you know, being men, you know, being taught to be stoic, be brave, be responsible, be the provider, the protector, not necessarily show your emotions or be emotional, to be aggressive. And that doesn't mean physically aggressive, even though as boys, you know, a lot of boys are that way, but that they're working it all out. That's what boys do. But I say aggressive meaning as in competition. You know, that's why if boys are, you know, aggressive, he put them in sports. You know, let them work it out, and they learn how to, you know, be a part of a team as well. But all those things are supposed to be toxic to men and to society and to women. And I don't understand that whatsoever. That doesn't make any sense to me, because that is what got us here where we are now. If we had a bunch of beta males, a bunch of girly men, we wouldn't be here where we are now. They'd have been too scared, too afraid. They'd they'd have had the women leading them around by their nose ring that they're wearing. you know, by their hoops that they got in their ears or whatnot, their gauges, with them gauges, big holes everywhere. You know, we all have roles to play in life, and some men are more masculine than others. I'm not saying, that, you got to have followers and you got to have leaders. I'm not saying beta males are bad. I don't want you to get that, or that, if you're not a, big burly man, that you're not masculine. There's different levels of it. Not all men are, big burly dudes, but that doesn't mean they're not a man. They can still be a responsible husband, a loving father, a protector, a provider, nurturing, caring, supporting for their wife and their children. All of that is masculinity. That's where husband comes from. It's from husbandry. It's a gardening term, or I say gardening, that might not be the most accurate term to use, but it means to to help grow, to plant, cultivate, help grow. And that's to care for, and that's what you are as a man. That's what you should be. And it doesn't necessarily have to be muscle bound, big beard, hairy chest, lumberjack, type of thing. You can be all of those things and just be an average Joe, an unassuming looking man, but you can still be very masculine, but you can tell, if you got an effeminate man around. See, that's different. More feminine than masculine. So that's the attack, that all those traits are negative towards society, towards women. And that couldn't possibly be further from the truth. Again, that's why we're here. That's why we're where we are now. Now, is some of those things, can be negative? Yeah, absolutely. If they're carried too far, men should not, they shouldn't be allowing their emotions to control them. But then again, you shouldn't shut off all emotion and be cold, be indifferent. I think that's why, the aggression comes out. Some people let their emotions control them and they get aggressive because they don't know how to handle it, or they abuse people. And men and women do that. There are women abusers too. Like I said, 80% of all females file for divorce. Or all divorces, I should rephrase that. All divorces are filed 80% of the time. Divorces are filed 80% of the time by females. Not by men. They're not looking to get out. They're not looking to run from their responsibility. They're not looking to get out of the marriage. And they can be just as capable of abuse as men, just in different ways. It might not be physical. It's in other ways. I was watching a video the other day where a woman had literally abused her husband over the years, not physically, but denied him access to her, denied her emotion, denied him emotional support, denied him support for his job, and to help him do the things, because she was busy working on herself. and then, and the whole time she's gaining and he's losing, and then she's blaming him for being a loser, but she's not helping him in any way. And then when he's like, hey, I'm trying to get more hours here, but you can't help watch the kids. You want me to watch the kids so you can work. He points out her hypocrisy. And when she does that, she just gets mad. And she tells him to figure it out. Well, he's doing everything he possibly can. But my point is, excuse me, get some water, is that women are just as capable of being abusive as men. And I've seen it. I have witnessed it firsthand. And you went, well, how have you seen that? Well, I'm going to tell you. Lest you forget, I was military police when I was in the Army. And we get called out to domestic violence problems, within the confines of the post, because you got military housing. So you got military families on there. Husbands, wives, children. And those are one of the worst things you can ever go to. Domestic violence, because you don't know what the hell you're walking into. It could be anything. And you got two people arguing, and then as soon as you turn on one, then the other one wants to turn on you, so it's very sketchy. So the first thing you want to do is separate them. But I can tell you one thing. All the ones I came to, the woman had come out on top. She was literally beating on him. He had scratches. He had red marks. A little too early to have bruises. That doesn't happen immediately. But you could tell he was the one that was worse for wear. That she had at some point attacked him physically. And you look at her and her, her hair, her makeup, everything, she's fine. She has not been smacked around. Her clothing isn't torn. She hasn't been thrown around or beat up. He's the one that's looking like shit. He's just trying to defend himself and keep her off of him. That's what I saw. And I saw worse than that, where the female actually attacked the children to spite the man. She abused the children to spite him. That's another story. That's an episode. That's probably 2 episodes. And that was horrible because it involved a death and a mutilation. That was a pretty bad night for me. But females are capable of anything. And so don't let them just think, oh, it's the male that's always the abuser. It's the man that's doing, being emotionally and being physically abusive. That's bullshit. It doesn't happen that way. Women are often a lot more conniving when it comes to that. But we men are very simple creatures. You know that, I know that, because we're men. It doesn't take a whole lot to satisfy us and keep us happy. It really doesn't. But females have wants and needs and desires, and they change from day to day, from hour to hour, depending on their mood and their menstrual cycle. Because it changes. It just does. Ain't nothing you can do about it. It's the way we're made up. It's the way, good Lord created us. Ain't nothing we can do about it. So once you think you got a female figured out, you're wrong. You ain't got nothing figured out. The more you know, the more you should realize, the more you don't know. Don't think you got a female figured out, or females in general figured out, because you don't. It's a lifelong process, and you'll never know everything. They're all different. They got a lot of things in common, because that's the way their brains are wired, the chemicals, the hormones, their physiology. But they're all different. And that's why I said men are different too. You don't have to be a big physical brute to be a masculine male. You just have to be masculine. You just have to be a male. You just have to do those things. And you can't be toxic and be masculine. If you're toxic, if you're being abusive, if you're being ugly towards women, if you're using them and abusing them and and running game and doing all those things, that's not being masculine. That's not being a masculine male. Is it toxic? Well, that could be discussed. Especially, being abusive, physically, emotionally. Yeah, that's toxic. But that's not being masculine by doing that. Being masculine is the opposite of that. That's what being masculine is. The opposite. So if you want to be a masculine male, you should attract females to you because you're masculine. And that means that you're that you're a good man. You're taking care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally. You're constantly learning. And if you're in a relationship or you got a wife, a girlfriend, what have you, you got a family, you're the provider, you're the protector. You should be the leader of that family. Not that what you say goes. When there's somebody else involved, there's some give and take, but you should ultimately have the ultimate say. Because you're the one that's going to get blamed irregardless. Even if it's her decision, or you bend to her will and do what she wants, and then it turns to shit, you're the one that's going to get the blame anyway. So you might as well take it, good, bad, or indifferent. So if you're doing all of those masculine things, you cannot be toxic. So don't let anybody use that term at you. They're going to describe other people with it. There's no need trying to change their minds, no need getting in an argument with somebody over that term. But they should not use that term against you. If they do, you need to turn them around real quick and let them know what toxic and what masculine is. And those terms don't go together. It's an oxymoron. It doesn't exist. You can't be both. You can't be toxic masculinity. All right? All right, my friends, I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your listenership. We're going to be pushing 200. I wish. We're going to be pushing 100 episodes here for the end of the year. Hey, that's an accomplishment. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. We're going to be up on 100 episodes before we know it, for the end of the year. I think that's pretty cool. And I was hoping we'd get about 10,000 listens, 10,000 downloads. We'll probably get around 9, I think, maybe, if I get lucky. But we're going to get real close. So that's good, too. Nothing wrong with that, eh? Yeah, I think so. I think that'll work. Nothing wrong with that. We can celebrate. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We'll do I think the last episode will be a year-long wrap-up. I think I'll do something like that, like a wrap-up. That's what all these TV shows and radio shows and all that. The obligatory, right? I'm obligated to do it. I have to do it. So I'll do like a year-long wrap-up, and we'll call it that. So check out social media sites, the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the Gab, Parler, and Locals. Check them all out. All right, my friends, I have been James Rodney Lemax, and you have been great. Yeah. This will be a weekly podcast. You can find it on the Anchor app and anywhere podcasts are available. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. I look forward to seeing you there.